Hey guys, today's a perfume video about a fragrance that I was very pleasantly surprised by. So this is going to be a positive one. They're not always, but this one will be. And we're talking about Nest Fragrances Black Tulip Eau de Parfum. So this is my second mini of it. I'm very glad that I actually went through two minis to do a review because I feel like I really got to know the fragrance quite well. It's a simple formulation, but it is brilliantly done. The fragrance was released in 2016, so it's not quite new, but it is a fantastic representative of its genre. Its genre is patchouli-based sweet fragrances. Patchouli and sugar has been done and overdone for about a decade and a half at this point, a little bit more even. And the popularity of fragrances such as Bon Bon by Viktor and Rolf, obviously, Flower Bomb by Viktor and Rolf, the whole slew of patchouli-based celebrity fragrances. They're all mostly faceless, so no need to mention them by name. And every designer fragrance to come out since then, a lot of them are patchouli, sugar, and a little bit of flowers. Basically, this is the formulation of this guy. However, not being a patchouli lover, having difficulty wearing patchouli, I can appreciate when patchouli is done right. Patchouli is one of the harder fragrances for me to be able to wear because, well, it has such a broad range, broad spectrum of potential smells. It's a very complex conceptual smell. And obviously it's synthetic. It's not like it's patchouli oil or extract, but the smell itself normally has many layers and can have a variety of colorings, anywhere from earthy, hippie, dirty patchouli, which I find more difficult to stomach, to very clean, clinical, bitter patchouli, like the white patchouli of Tom Ford, which I also find very difficult to stomach. So I need something fairly benign and fairly well integrated within the fragrance to be able to actually enjoy patchouli-based fragrances. Clinique Elixir in Black, actually, I think is a very good example of nicely done, beautiful patchouli that I enjoy tremendously. This is going to be one of the other examples. And I was very surprised because I have such difficulty going for these very sweet patchouli-based sugary fragrances. And this is basically what it is. And normally I run as far as I can from them because they are very teeny bopper, they are very celebritant, and they're very just boring and too sweet. I can't stomach super sweet fragrances. And I think they're tacky a lot of the time. So it takes talent to make something in this genre be beautiful and elegant. And patchouli is quite an elegant scent, but from what I've been seeing being released, it's just been, well, traumatizing in all honesty, because people do what sells easily, and sweetie teener boppers sells easily, and that's what has been mass produced. Black Tulip is a nice exception, although if you do like what I call these super sweet, sugary fragrances, I think this is going to be fantastic for you, because in fact, I think it's a very elegant, beautiful alternative to the teeny bopper sweet patchouli, furchuli trend. This is a furchuli, but this is a furchuli done right. Thank you very much, Nest, for actually nailing the formulation to represent the whole genre in an elegant and agreeable way. And I think I will be exploring more of Nest fragrances because of this one, because it was just so gosh darn well done. I may or may not purchase this one in full size in the future, and that's big words for somebody who has trouble with patchouli and does not like very sweet scents. Let's get to the formulation. What do we actually smell in here? I find for my nose, I tend to notice 3 out of 4 ingredients very well, and I can dissect and break down the scent very well. It's very intentional. definitely patchouli comprises over 90% of the scent. This patchouli is more on the earthy side, which gives it a lot of flair, a lot of interest, and it doesn't go into the dirty side of patchouli, which I appreciate because that can be very reminiscent of BO, and I think this is leaning that way, but it's not going too far with that reference. And the other super, super noticeable part of this fragrance, the other huge chunk of what you smell, is sweet, sweet pickled plums. These are ridiculously delicious. You just want to eat it. On the background of the patchouli dustiness and earthiness sit the sweetest plum preserves, like pantry style, grandma style. You open that jar of preserves with beautifully made, gorgeous, juiciest plums that your grandma grew herself. And all of that is ridiculously sugared. You have to break the top because the sugar is crusted on the top, and you have to break or scrape off the top because there's just so much sugary goodness, and then you hit the beautiful juicy plums. They're in chunks. This is really, really tasty. I happen to think that, the patchouli plum combo actually works quite well in fragrances, and a lot of fragrances do utilize this kind of a combo. For instance, if you want something super classic and super, super popular of its time, Couture Couture by Juicy Couture is a good example of a fragrance who really mass popularized this particular combination. And there is this flair there, but this is delicious and mischievous and winking at you, and at the same time it retains so much elegance with this patchouli, and the elegance is really brought home and pounded down. It hits all the right bases because it does have the beautiful ethereal violets in the background. The combination of violet and patchouli lifts it a little bit, gives it a little bit of playfulness, and definitely classes up the whole joint. The breezy, beautiful violets really take it away from that sort of BO component of earthy patchouli and make it very classic. This is like Hollywood diva classic, really glamorous, very beautiful with a lot of sass, but this is sass done right. Thank you very much. You can't argue. This is a very well formulated fragrance, and I really appreciate, you can have 15,000 components to a fragrance and still come out with something quite mundane, but here you have, they claim there is pink pepper here, but really all I smell is tons of patchouli, the sweetest plum ever, and very elegant violets. This combination, like these three notes are enough for me to retain interest, to be captured and captivated. I want to know more, and I want to smell the story. Yeah, this is great. Very interesting, and thankfully, the violets lift this whole combo to a place of elegance, and thank you for that as well. I think nicely done, very nicely done, Nest. I cannot really complain. I cannot find fault with this fragrance. Fortunately, it wears very well. Another point that I want to make is the fact that it does transform. It's one of the molding fragrances. It will adapt to your skin. It will wear differently on different people. Some fragrances are quite uniform wearing. This one is going to really reflect your personal chemistry a little bit more. Patchouli usually do that. And the way that it wears is, again, very agreeable, and I really like. Because wearing a sweet scent long term can be daunting and can be headache inducing and heavy. This is a heavy concentrated scent. It lifts nicely. The sweetness wears away little by little and fades into the background of very classic patchouli violet combo, which comprises the bottom of the pyramid and really sticks around for longer than the sticky plum does. So I think the wearability is there. I think even though this is such a sweet and sticky and heavy number, it does wear away to something quite wearable. You can, with a small amount of perfume, very light application, you can get away with it as an everyday scent in the fall and winter. I think it would suffocate you in the summer for sure. And I have to say, lots of compliments. My husband loved this. He was all over this thing, but as you know, if you watch my channel, my husband really has a sweet tooth when it comes to fragrances. That's, he wants me to smell like a cookie. So there's definitely that. But nicely done, beautifully formulated, wearable, fruitfully. And I often use fruitfully as almost an insult just because of the volume and the quality of things that had been coming out for the last maybe 15 years in this particular genre of fragrance, which was very disappointing. This is not disappointing. This is where I want this genre to go. This is the direction that I wish the fragrance industry would take with this particular genre of fragrance. I really want for them to do elegant, beautiful, fun and mischievous scents rather than generic smelling sweeties. And the florality of this is really quite remarkable. There's so very few ingredients and they're so well balanced. Beautiful. Let me know if you've tried Tulip, Black Tulip, and what you thought of it. Do you agree with me that this stands apart from the general poofy genre of fruitulis and does a very good job representing its kind? Or do you think that it isn't anything special? For me, I think the quality really makes it stand apart, and the balance between all the elements really, I think they got right here. I think they did a very good job with formulating it. And it's a couple years old. I was expecting it to be more popular, to be honest. I don't hear a lot of people mention this fragrance, and given how popular the genre is, I think they really should. So if you are a fan of sticky, sweet, yummy fruitulis, here's your girl. You need to check her out because she stands apart, and she is a very decent representation of this particular kind of fragrance that a lot of people are into, and I'm into this one. And it's hard for me to admit I'm into a very sweet sticky fruituli, but I am. This is good. Obviously I would not go for it when there's any chance that you're going to produce some BO, because body odor and this would be kind of really gross actually. But in cold weather where you're not sweating, when you're wearing cozy stuff, I think this would be divine. What a wonderful pick. And if you really like pleasing people in your life, this is not a professional scent whatsoever. It's mischievous, it's fun, it's sticky sweet, it's sticky fingers. Opening the plum preserves and you look around to make sure nobody's around, you're dipping your finger and you're just eating the preserves. They're that good. So it's her. That's her. I don't think it's professional per se. I don't think it's so unprofessional that it should not be worn, but I do think there's an element of mischievous sexiness that is here that might not be workplace appropriate. Of course, it's also a question of dose. If you dose it in a tiny amount and it wears down to a beautiful patchouli violet, then no harm done. But very sweet. I have to say, impressed. And I don't get impressed with this type of fragrance usually. So 2 thumbs up for me. Okay, so let me know if you've worn it and what you think of it. And have you been as impressed as I have? Because again, those glowing reviews don't usually happen, especially in this genre for me. That's it for today. I hope it was fun for you to watch. See you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.